In Title 26 of the United States Code, it says, no part of this title, not its headings, its body, nor its footnotes, nor its definitions, shall be construed as law. Understand something. The Constitution as we know it, that's in print, in all these little books, right, that we all carry around as patriots, and we all hand out, is not even the right Constitution, according to the United States Code. Not even that one. It's not the right Constitution. Now, however, the first 12 are exactly the same. They're right. They're the same as that one. That one over there, I encourage you guys to get from the correct department at the Capitol and authenticate it and record it as yours. Oh, you get those 4 documents, and then what happens? What did I read just a minute ago about authentication? What did I read? Where did I read it? You take good notes. An act of giving authority to a record. So you get certified copies of this. Sign your name to it. Right underneath these signatures, you sign your name to it. You put it in an affidavit and make small copies of this, take photos, shrink them down, make them exhibits A, B, C, and D, attach it to a 1-page affidavit and go to your county's recorder and record it. And you just accepted that as law. The minute you do that, you walk into court with it. Put in a notice before you go into court, 7 to 10 days, that you've accepted those as law. They're a court of record. That's all you got to say. There you are, a court of record. They've been accepted previously as law by you, and they are now a court of record. Now you know what the judge has to go by? Isn't that beautiful? Add the Bible to that. And then you use scriptures. And then every time you put in a law document, you put a scripture on the back side of the page. I'll tell you why. I've watched a judge take your documents. I'll just use this as your documents. Might be 10 pages, might be 30. And I've watched him. We've argued a point. I watched him turn all the documents over and go like this and go, I don't see anything written here that says that. He was looking at the back side of the page. But you know what scripture is to a man in a black robe calling a seance? I used to have so much fun with judges. I'll tell you how much fun I used to have. I used to make wooden stakes, half a dozen of them. I'd put them in a box, attach a little note. I'd send them anonymously from a post office 2 cities away to the judge's house. And then I'd actually melt down some silver in a retort and make silver bullets. Little bullets that look like Buzz's necklaces back there. They look like this, only they were silver. And I'd put a handful of those in a little box, with a little note. I'd send them. And I'd string together some garlic. Put a beautiful little wooden cross. And I'd put that in a box with a little note and I'd send it to them. Never had my name on it.
What did the note say?
Doesn't matter. And then I'd go into court and I'd say, Your Honor, let's put a stake in the heart of this matter. Did you get my bullet points? 12 are the same. After that, it's all SMU. The 13th Amendment to the Constitution that you all know, the corporate one, that freed the black slaves. And the 14th Amendment made all of us slaves. Okay? That's what it did. Everything after that is SMU. It's not law. None of it. The United States Code in its preface says, this nation was founded upon Christian principles, i.e. the Bible. And the Bible became public law 97-280, codified in the United States Code as law, and it goes on to say, and all laws of the United States shall be based upon the Bible. And these 4 founding documents, that's the first Constitution, not that one. One is the Constitution of the United States of America. The other is the Constitution for the United States of America. They changed one word. Then there's one in 1980. It's the United Nations Constitution for the United States. On and on and on. Which one do you go by? The one you think is right, or the one you make a court of record that goes with the United States Code so that you can hold them accountable. That's amazing. That's like a key that I just gave you to unlock the door. Right there. Definition of person in 26 U.S.C. section 6671B and 26 U.S.C. section 7343 is all of whom are officers or employees of federal corporations and not natural beings. I just told you the definition of persons. This is why God in Job 32, 21, and 22 says, be the man and not the person. Don't put flattering titles of person upon the man. For if you do, I'll surely take you away. And yet our whole life, how many times have you said, before you knew any of this, the word person? This person did that person did that, and that person did that too, and that person. Every time you do that, it's a sin. Be the man and not the person. Or employees of federal corporations. Okay? Individual. 26 CFR section 1.1441-1C3. Which is defined as an alien or non-resident alien. That's what we are. We're non-resident aliens to the United States. Because if you're a resident, you live in Washington, D.C. and just reside in one of the several states to do business. See? Definitions are so important. Taxpayer. I love this one. 26 U.S.C. section 7701-814 and 26 U.S.C. section 1313 is a person engaged in the trade or business and is a franchise and therefore a public office within the U.S. government. Where's our guy in here that works for the federal government? We talked about it. Okay, right there. He's the only one that has to pay taxes. He's the only taxpayer. He's lonely over there all by himself. The problem is they drug you all in with them. He's smart. Well, I don't know, or he wouldn't work for government. You see what I mean? Citizen. This is fun. On the history side of things, I decided, this was an arduous task, that I would spend a long time going back through history to find the first time I could find the word citizen used in the United States in history. And I found it. My eyes hurt just thinking about how much I read. It took me a long time. This was pre-Google. I'm telling you, pre-Google. My computer had a floppy at the time. Okay, enough said. Now, you can write stuff on it, but not much else. Anyway, I've read a lot of books. I found that right after the Revolutionary War, the King of England put out a proclamation. And when I read his proclamation, I thought, oh my God, kings are smart. We Americans just beat the crap out of them on the battlefield, and we won the Revolutionary War. And he's got to haul all those soldiers back to England. You know what the expense of that is? About 100 people per ship, thousands of soldiers. How many ships had to go back? The wages had to be paid to the captains, on and on and on. Even then, it was a tremendous amount of money out of the king's coffers to get them home after they lost. Many of them bloody, on stretchers. Many of them had to be hauled back to England, right? So he put out a proclamation. Smart king. He says, those British soldiers who would like to remain on the shores of America may remain as British citizens. In other words, they can't change their status. To provide the free men and women of America with essential governmental services. That son of a buck just won the war. All of our soldiers bloodied in battle, went home to their families to clear land, build cabins, raise a family, blah, 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 blah. The last thing they want to do is run for office. You know George Washington was a British citizen? And had taken an oath to Great Britain? He never rescinded it. Man, when I learned that crap, I was pissed. They ran our counties, our townships, our towns, our cities. They ran New York City and Chicago and Boston and Baltimore. They became our government. And nothing changed. Still. And you guys, Americans, with a voter's registration card in your pocket, go vote for your best British citizen. Because the minute they run for office, that's what they become, foreign to us. The only way they don't is by taking an additional oath. And the only one that can take the additional oath is the president. And he takes 3 jobs if he wants them. He becomes CEO of the corporation. That's what Biden did. It was the only job he took. He only chose one. He didn't take the commander-in-chief job. You go to the Pentagon, you walk in the hall, it says POTUS. There's no picture in it. That's the second job, commander-in-chief. The third job is President of the United States of America. Our president.